Hello, I'm Penny Melville-Brown from Baking Blind. I don't see at all. I can't even tell whether it's light or dark. But I don't let anything stop me from getting the very best out of life, as you can see from all the videos of me cooking around the globe. I was cooking with Jenison from America. He's also completely blind and a champion of making technology accessible for people with any sort of disability. He'd also told me that he very rarely cooks, partly due to his lifestyle, but also lack of experience. We also wondered if kitchen equipment just makes it too difficult as well.
The oven, but the stovetop is not accessible, and the controls are buttons. Thankfully, there are buttons.
Yeah.
But there's a menu, so you have to kind of count and hope that you've gotten to the right temperature.
One piece of really useful kitchen equipment could be an air fryer. So much safer than trying to cook with a lot of boiling oil. My friend and co-cook John have brought one to show us. So where are we starting, John?
We're going to start with chips.
Chips! So, potatoes each? Jenison, do you want the big one or the little one?
The little one sounded easier.
The little one's there. So where do we go from there, John?
Well, you got your handheld peeler.
Yep.
Is there an electric version of that?
No.
There is an electric.
But you'll end up with no potato.
You can get electric ones. I tried to explain how a manual potato peeler works. You sort of use it as if you were shaving your face.
Okay.
So you're going to...
I use an electric shaver.
No.
Keep going.
Keep going. Right, just pull it down. Can you feel it coming off?
Sure.
I hate these. There it goes. Can you feel... You need a bit of force.
Military force?
Yeah.
Yes.
And he got the hang of it pretty quickly. And you should be able to feel the potato when it's peeled, because you'll feel the juiciness of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, are you keeping an eye on us
I'm
back
keeping,
there?
I've got the plasters
It's
ready.
just slow. And the peeled potatoes were kept in iced water until we were ready to cut them under John's very specific instruction.
Yes, so mind your fingers.
Do I have insurance?
Oh, I hope so.
Sure.
These are not French fries.
No.
These are classic English chips. Cutting those big chips was surprisingly difficult for both of us.
We're going to put them in, we're going to plunge them into boiling water.
Right.
To blanch them off first, because if we put them directly into the air fryers like that, they're not going to crisp up.
I could completely understand why Jenison was cautious about putting those cut potatoes into the boiling water.
Thank God I have clothes on.
Just tip them in.
Oh, I can do that.
Just tip
Yeah.
them in.
Yeah. How long in the boiling water, John?
Well, no more than 10 minutes max.
We had one of those, I say tomato, you say tomato. That's a
Come
colander?
down.
Okay.
Was that a colander?
Colander.
Colander. Colander. Into a colander. The chips went back into cold water until we needed them.
So what we're going to do is we're going to use an air fryer, which is a lot healthier and a lot safer for yourselves than using a deep fat fryer.
Yep.
So all we're going to do is put a tablespoon of oil over the top of these chips,
What
put
do
them
we...
into the air fryer.
Yep.
At about 160, they'll take about 25 minutes to cook,
Yeah.
and they should come out all nice and crispy.
John showed us the air fryer's simple manual controls. Somebody like you and I, we could mark that really easily, couldn't we, with a tactile marker?
Yep. And this is easy as well.
Yeah, the timer.
They're
would...
knobs. Thank goodness they're
Yes.
not buttons.
Oh, yes. These people who get into all this digital stuff, LCD displays and all the rest of it.
Well,
This
they
is
do
so
an
much
LCD
better.
display. This is the cheaper version.
Right.
Cheaper, more accessible.
Yeah.
Cheaper is more accessible. Jenison coated the dried chips in just about a tablespoonful of oil.
They are lubricated.
The chips went into the basket and into the machine. The timer was set, the power was on. And while the chips cooked, Jenison told me lots about his work in California.
When I'm not here cooking with you, and I'm paying the bills, I head up accessibility engineering evangelism at LinkedIn, And so LinkedIn, among other companies in the Silicon Valley, have made a decision to invest in accessibility. And part of the investment is actually having full-time people whose accountability is strictly on accessibility.
Yeah.
Now, it's going to take more than just a full-time person or persons to do that. You need first of all, top of the house to be talking about accessibility so that
it's leadership, isn't it?
It's leadership from the top.
Absolutely.
And it's also just, if they're saying it up there, then people have to be talking about it mid-stairs and downstairs. Well, one of the frustrations we have is that a lot of engineers and designers have never been exposed to accessibility or inclusive thinking until they get to the companies. And so the big thing for me, and for a lot of other people who work in accessibility, is engineering and computer science and design schools at the college and university level, and at the boot camps as well, need to start teaching basic concepts of accessibility and inclusive thinking at that point. There's a whole movement, diversity in tech, the whole piece. Most of those conversations on diversity in tech do not include people with disabilities. They include the important groups, don't get me wrong, women, LGBT, all of those, people, visible minorities.
Yes.
But there's never, or typically never, conversation about people with disabilities actually working in tech. Because let me tell you, as someone who's blind, working in tech, it's a little lonely because there aren't very many of us working in tech roles, in tech companies who happen to have a disability or impairment, or you taught me a phrase out here that's
long-term health condition.
Yeah, who have a long-term health condition. So so two things. A, we need to educate engineers and designers of the future and the present on accessibility, but we also need to get more people with disabilities, impairments, or long-term health conditions into tech, because we know we have perspective that we would bring to a room. Particularly if a product is just being spun up and just like, hey, let's build this. No one's going to think about, well, how would a person with a disability or impairment use that product? But by having people with disabilities in the room, that topic will be brought up early. And we'd be using it, we'd be testing it. And the big question for anyone who works in technology to ask themselves, who may be watching or listening to us now, is, I mean, how do you, if you're not caring about accessibility or inclusive thinking or inclusive design, are you comfortable knowing that you're putting out a product and you're excluding that 20%? I mean, are you able to go to bed comfortable knowing that you've done that? Because it's not that accessibility or inclusive thinking is something brand new. This has been around for a long time, starting with physical architecture. So for people to say, oh, well, I didn't think about it because I didn't know about it. I mean, to me, that argument is getting less and less acceptable. It's not that difficult at all. Now, peeling eggs.
And then we got back to the chips. John, these are the chips. Are they ready now?
Hang on. They are now.
They are now. And you said you turned them up.
Turned them up to 200 for the last 5-6 minutes just to brown them off, get them nice and
Okay.
cold.
Jennison,
Okay, let's have a look.
you have the honour
What am I
of
doing?
pulling out the drawer.
Whoa.
Be careful, they're hot.
They are steaming hot.
Where am I putting them? Right there?
Just leave them there.
Okay.
Cool. Let's move that out of the way.
Because, I can feel it's hot.
Yeah.
And Jennison couldn't resist trying one.
Yeah. Oh my god. That hot and it's...
Have you got one, Jennison? You devil!
It's all for camera.
Oh, it's all for camera. Oh, they sound crisp, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh,
You have to
yeah, very hot.
Eat them with care.
They are excellent, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
This is how chips should be.
Beautiful.
Crisp on the outside, soft in the middle.
I can have these every day.
There's ketchup in the middle there.
You wanted to put on some weight, Jennison. This is the way. So, fish,
Chips, mushy
and
peas,
mushy peas.
and tartar sauce to finish.
Absolutely
And it's not
fabulous.
even nothing being deep fried. All
That's
shallow fried.
So, things that blind people can do with a bit of supervision.
With a bit of supervision.
Yeah.
And healthy chips, don't forget.
Yeah, the chips are probably the best I've had for years. Next time, John shows us a safe way to fry battered cod. And Jennison tells me all about Global Accessibility Awareness Day. And please do check out the sort of podcast with pictures on the YouTube channel, which is where Jennison and I were talking about accessibility and technology and how modern developments can make a real difference for people with disabilities.